That is candidate for governor in Georgia, second time, Stacey Abrams, pushing voter suppression claims ahead of tomorrow's big election day. But already we're seeing nearly 40 million early votes this election cycle. That's according to the U.S. Elections Project. And also in Georgia, millions already voted.
More than 2 million at this point. Mike Huckabee is the former presidential candidate, former governor of Arkansas, and he's with us now. Mike, welcome. Sir, thank you so much for coming on today. When you listen to the claims by Stacey Abrams there, do you have questions about whether or not there's proof to back up her words?
If this is voter suppression, it is the worst possible display of it we've ever seen. Record numbers of voters in Georgia. Georgia did not make it more difficult to vote. They made it, as they like to say, more difficult to cheat. And therefore, more people are voting. I think it's been really shameful that Stacey Abrams even has a platform anymore. She cost the state of Georgia $100 million in revenue from the All-Star game by her whining. She got a lot of the big corporations like Coca-Cola and Delta Airlines who had supported the Georgia voting bill to turn around and run from it because of her intimidation, and they should have just told her to go pound sand. But here's the problem. Stacey Abrams still thinks she won in 2018. She's never really given up on that. But I think Brian Kemp will win by such a margin that she's not going to be able to say, they cheated me out of it. No, they didn't. You lost, Stacey. Simple as that.
Yeah, he's up in the polls right now, Governor Kemp. He has been so outside of the margin of error. I know you tweeted, and I'll just show the viewers really quickly. You said voter suppression makes Stacey and Joe's nonsense about Jim Crow 2.0 look even more stupid than when they were first lied about it. Again, I know you had thoughts on that. I wanted to get different thoughts, though, on just overall midterms here. I want to play a clip, if I can, for you, sir, of RNC Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel speaking ahead of the midterms. Here's that.
We need a president that's going to work across the aisle. None of this happens unless both parties are working together. So if we win back the House and the Senate, it's the American people saying to Joe Biden, we want you to work on behalf of us, and we want you to work across the aisle and solve the problems that we are dealing with.
Talk to me about that. It seems as if, again, politics aside, it seems as if the RNC has a unifying message at this point saying, hey, we're ready to win back the House, the Senate, and we're ready to work with this president. Is that what you think January would look like if Republicans do take control of Congress?
You know, it's going to be up to Joe Biden. He keeps calling the Republicans the MAGA Republicans. He calls us a threat to democracy. So if he really believes that we are a threat to democracy, he's probably not going to want to sit down and work with the Republicans. I think they'd like to, but I want to make clear, working with Republicans doesn't mean Republicans ought to get elected and go to Washington and roll over and play dead. That's what they've done in the past when they get a big victory. They don't do anything other than go to some nice cocktail parties in Georgetown. This is a time for Republicans to act like they really want to bring some reform and accountability to the government in Washington. They've got to ask the hard questions. Why is the FBI and the DOJ only seeming to go after people on the other side of the political spectrum from them? Why have they weaponized the law enforcement arms of this country? Why have they allowed people to lie to get warrants to spy on people and put them in jail? Who have looked for things such as voter accountability. And if they don't do that, if they don't check into whether or not Joe Biden got 10% of Hunter's multi-million-dollar Chinese Communist Party business deal, then we ought to throw them out in 2 years and start over again. I'm not for, just going and mucking it all up, but I'm going to tell you something. If the Republicans that we've worked hard to get there, if they go in and just basically play nice and have a patty cake party, God bless them all, it's time to throw them out too, because we need some accountability in this country. We want a government that treats everyone the same, regardless of his or her political party.
And, there have been some promises from House lawmakers who say they're going to investigate the FBI, the DOJ for political bias. We'll have to wait and see if they follow through on that promise. Sir, you talk about the importance of teamwork, Republicans working together to get through these midterms. Over the weekend, we heard the former president come up with a new nickname for the current Florida governor, Ron DeSantis. Is now the time for those sort of comments and digs at fellow members of the GOP?
I think there's plenty of time for the inter-party rivalry that'll happen when we're into the campaign season for 2024. Maybe we ought to hold off on it for now. I think it would probably be better. We have a common opponent right now. It's the far left Democrats who believe in mutilating little girls and little boys and their bodies. It's the people who think we ought to have open borders, raise taxes, cut our energy supply, and double the cost of our energy. Those are the people we need to be going after right now, not each other. Plenty of time for that. So I hope all the Republicans will work on solving problems for the American public, because there are plenty of them that this administration has created.
All right, former governor there of Arkansas joining us live, Mike Huckabee. We appreciate it, Mike. Good to see you. Thank you.